Farming is one of the oldest practices that we as a species have known of for quite some time now. Essentially, we've always been farmers, and although times have changed and people are more enamored with the modern city lifestyle, there will always be a demand for agricultural work. This is why for today we have decided to bring you a guide that should teach you the basics of 10 different types of farming that you can choose from. So, let's not beat around the bush any longer and instead just jump right into our first pick of the day. 10. Aquaculture farming. Aquaculture is represented by the breeding, rearing and harvesting of fish, and practically any other organism that can be grown in water. This is a very good option to restore the habitat and increase the number of fish from endangered species. 9. Cooperative farming. Cooperative farming is what a lot of farmers turn towards when they put each other's differences aside and decide to work together for the sake of bringing their profits up. This is an effective way for farmers to pool together their time and money for the sake of bringing themselves back up from the rut they're stuck in. 8. Hay farming. Growing hay is thus quite a lucrative means of making money, and depending on the baling equipment that you have at your disposal, there are quite a lot of different ways of selling off your hay. 7. Organic farming. In simple terms, organic food is the type of food that you get without the use of modern artificial additives, like for example pesticides or any sort of chemical fertilizers. On top of that, they're natural in the sense that they're not treated with radiation, industrial solvents or whatnot. This farming is getting popular people due to awareness on what they're consuming are not artificial. 6. Urban farming. This may seem like a pretty wild concept to grasp at first, but urban farming refers both to the cultivation of plants and the actual cultivation of animals as well, as long as they are around the city. This means that you need to take into consideration the urban economic and ecological system, and basically expect to make a profit based off of that. This also means that you will need to invest in workers from those urban areas and other such resources, which includes organic waste and organic wastewater. 5. Nomadic farming. Nomadic farming or nomadic pastoralism is just what it sounds like. It implies that you are raising your own animals, and as time rolls on by you essentially move it from one place to another, for them to find better grazing land and water. This is quite a difficult path to take, and not one that we would recommend that you choose, unless you really have the time and energy for it. 4. Sedentary farming. Sedentary farming is essentially just the complete opposite of what nomadic farming is. Instead of you moving with the herd, constantly changing your location in search for greener areas, you use the exact same land every year and you don't move your animals in the slightest. This is a very good choice if you wish to heavily invest in an area and not have to worry about expanding anytime soon. It is a relatively simplistic lifestyle, but it is also very effective at making you a lot of money. 3. Intensive farming. Intensive farming is the type of a project that you get into, and the more time passes, the more money it takes out of you. We tend to believe that the more we work on something, the less we will have to invest in it, and the more money we'll make off of it, but this isn't always the case. 2. Extensive farming. Extensive farming implies that you get a smaller family farm and you own a handful of animals that take little investment to be taken care of, such as sheep for example. Agriculturally speaking, you won't be spending all that much on it, so you won't be expecting that much product to come out of it. You also won't be investing any money into workers and you won't be doing any labor yourself. 1. Arable farming. Arable farming requires you to use natural land for growing crops like wheat and barley instead of using it for animals, fruits or vegetables. Arable lands nowadays cover around 1.407 billion hectares or so, and while that number is decreasing steadily because of deforestation, irrigation and urban expansion, there is still plenty of it to go around. Conclusion. While there are definitely a ton of different ways that you can farm nowadays, there is no real best choice out there. This is why we recommend checking out every one of the farming types that we had picked out for you above before you make your final decision.